What's going on, everybody? My name's Corey, that TCG guy here, and I gotta be a little quiet because my wife's not feeling good, and she's asleep over there. But I couldn't not make a video today because Commander Legends Baldur's Gate has started preview season. What? It looks like they announced all the legendary creatures just today, which is crazy. So what I'm going to do is, I mean, you can see, like here you go. There's some of them, probably not all of them, that have been spoiled today. I went through them, I took a look at them, and I wanted to talk about maybe one of them. I was gonna do like a quick oh, let's talk about all of them, but there's like 50 of them. By 50 I mean there's like 10, but that could be a whole other video talking about each of the legendary creatures from this set. So instead I'm just gonna take one that I think is really cool and offers an interesting deck building design space, and we're gonna talk about that. So let's do that. All right, so the one I want to talk about here is the JESKAI commander that was spoiled or previewed, I guess. I'm going to completely butcher this name, and I'm so sorry, but and again, these are like actual canon D&D creatures or characters, so some of you will be like, it's pronounced like this, and then I'll be like, cool, I've played D&D 3 times, so I don't know these things, but just be gentle with me. All right, so today we're talking about Dynaheir. Let's say Dynaheir. Dynaheir Invoker Adept. Here it is. There she is. She looks like Rihanna. But anyway, Dynaheir Invoker Adept is a legendary human wizard, a 4/4 for 1 in JESKAI. That reads, haste. You may activate abilities of other creatures you control as though those creatures have haste, though she herself has haste, so her next ability will trigger whenever. Her tap ability says, when you next activate an ability this turn by spending 4 or more mana to activate it, copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. When I saw this, I was like, cool, JESKAI activated abilities, great, let's figure it out. Turns out there's a ton of activated abilities in JESKAI, just not the ones you'd expect. Actually, that's a lie. There's a lot of them. I thought this was going to be a lot easier is what I'm saying. And then the more I looked into it, trying to look for those big mana value activated abilities, there's not a whole lot to choose from in these colors that do a whole lot. So you really have to kind of dig deep and try to figure out how you're going to build this deck. Based on what I could see, it looks like there's a few different ways you can take it. There's like enchantment activated abilities, artifact activated abilities, and creature activated abilities. I think finding a balance between creatures and artifact abilities are going to be the way to go with this, but you can do whatever you want with it. Though some people are even saying that this belongs in other decks and maybe not necessarily as the commander, which could very well be the case, but that's for us to decide. Without further ado, let's jump into some of the cards I think are going to work really well in this deck if you're playing Dynaheir as the commander. Again, if I'm butchering this name, I'm so sorry. Please don't hold it against me. All right, let's get to it. All right, so like I said earlier, the card we're talking about today is Dynaheir. Again, butchering the name, Invoker Adept. 1 in JESKAI for a 4/4 legendary creature, human wizard with haste. You may activate abilities of other creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. Tap, when you next activate an ability this turn by spending 4 or more mana to activate it, copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. A really interesting creature here. Like I said, you have to kind of go into an interesting design space. There are plenty of activated abilities within JESKAI. When I first saw this, like I said, I thought it was going to be super easy, and I'd just be like, oh yeah, there are all these things in there. And the more I looked into it, kind of the more nuanced I feel like you have to really be with this deck if you're using Dynaheir as the commander. If you're throwing her in other decks like Sisay decks, anything with 5 colors, you're gonna be fine. You just slot this in, it's gonna help you out tremendously. But other than that, with her as the commander, let's see some cards that I think are gonna be really useful. So first off, just like her namesake, we have the Invoker cycles. And that's something that Wizards, even in their post about this card, kind of alluded to, that in D&D lore, she's considered an Invoker. So they tried to design her in a way that worked with cards that had the Invoker kind of namesake. And you'll see that all of these have a high activated ability cost, which is great for our activated abilities ability to copy them because you're paying more than 4 mana. So are these necessarily the best cards to play? Probably not. Are they going to slot into this deck if you want to, you know, kind of take advantage of them? Sure. Do we need them? Probably not. But you'll see that they have some interesting abilities that may help you out in a pinch, but will also flavorfully fit into this deck. So first off, we have Dawnglare Invoker, 2 and a white for a 2/1 core wizard with flying and an 8 mana activated ability to tap all creatures target player controls. So you dump 8 mana into this, which seems like a lot, and it is. And then you tap Dynaheir, and then you can copy the ability so you can tap all creatures that 2 target players controls, which could be very helpful in a situation. If you need 8 mana to do this, you're hopefully going in for a kill strike on one of those 2 players, if not both of them. So again, these are pretty high. We'll see. We'll see if they fit. All right, we also have Flame Wave Invoker. This is a 2 red for a 2/2 Goblin Mutant. It says 7 and red. Flame Wave Invoker deals 5 damage to target player or planeswalker. Again, you copy that ability. 10 damage to 1 player or 5 damage to 2 players or planeswalker. It could be pretty useful in the right situations. All right, Lava Fume Invoker, 2 and a red for a 2/2 Goblin Shaman. Again, we have that 8 mana price tag for the ability. Creatures you control get +3/+0 until end of turn. So doubling that up, they get +6/+0 till end of turn. Hopefully you're doing a little bit of damage to somebody and, you know, really taking advantage of spending that 8 mana on this ability. So, you know, use discretion. Again, these are just the cards that, for the namesake and obviously for the mana, are going to fit if you want to put them in here. Starlight Invoker is the next one. 1 and a white for a 1/3 Human Cleric Mutant. With 7 and white ability, you gain 5 life. You know, gaining 5 life for 8 mana is interesting. Gaining 10 life for 8 mana. Okay, it could be useful. Again, use your discretion, but just it fits with, again, the name and the activated ability. And then last up for the Invoker series, we have 2 and a red for a 2/3 Human Shaman. 8 mana price tag for the ability. Valakut Invoker deals 3 damage to any target. So 8 mana for 3 damage, or 8 mana plus the ability to do 6 damage to any target. Again, could get you out of a pinch. Could be the difference of killing somebody or killing a player. So I think, you know, maybe we slot this one especially. It's from Commander Legends from the first go around. So, you know, well, yeah, it is what it is. All right, let's talk about some weird ones now. There's a couple of weird ones that I think are going to fit in this deck that do have some viable uses, but again, use your discretion when building this. Obviously, these are not the end-all be-all cards, but just ones that, after doing some research for the last hour or so, I found that I think are interesting. And like I said, these are some of the weirder ones, but they'll work. So first up, we have Triska Decaphile. Say that 10 times fast. 1 and a blue for a 1/3 Human Wizard. This is from Midnight Hunt. You have no maximum hand size, which is just a good ability to have in general. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. And then for 3 and a blue, you draw a card. So you can double that up to draw 2 cards, getting you, closer to your ability to win the game. So I think this is an interesting secondary win con in this deck for, having 13 cards in your hand. There's easily a way to do that in JESKAI. And then, you have to double that ability to draw the extra 2 cards you need. Then, hey, like I said, these are weird ones. So it's cool. It works. Let's jam it in there. All right, Guafa Hazid Profiteer is another weird card that I really love, that I want people to play more of, and I never see it. And I have it in a few decks, which is cool. The Tivit deck, it works awesome in for politicking. So this isn't going to be a card that you're doubling up the abilities because the ability only costs 2 mana, but it's one that you can just drop them immediately and then just start bribery counting your opponent's creatures. And then if you have some sort of thing to untap, which is definitely, I think, a theme you want to put in here is stuff to untap your creatures because they have haste for these abilities, you can do it multiple times. So, Guafa Hazid Profiteer, a 2/2 legendary creature human rogue with for 1 blue and a white. And then the ability is for a blue and a white and tap it. Put a bribery counter on target creature you don't control. Its controller draws a card. Creatures with bribery counters on them cannot attack or block. So it's just kind of stopping your opponents from getting a little too aggressive. And then again, you can just drop this with your commander on the battlefield. You can do it right away. And then if you have some sort of untap effect, you can do it multiple times if possible. So again, this is a weird card in general. I love it. I think it's going to work well. All right, the next one we have is an awesome card. I actually really enjoy this card. It's called Chaos Wand. It's a 3-mana artifact with an ability that says for 4 mana and tap it, target opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost, then put the exiled cards that weren't cast this way on the bottom of their library in a random order. So it's a card that you're going to be able to copy with your commander, but also you're going to get some free spells. Well, free. I'm doing air quotes, you can't see it, but you're going to get some free spells from your opponents. And this way, when you copy it, you're going to get 2. 1 from one person, or 2 from one person, or 1 from 2 opponents, which can be interesting. So this is definitely a card you want to throw in this deck to get you some extra value. All right, Lithoform Engine is a card that is seeing a lot of play already. So if you have one, great. If you don't, it's a great card to put in this deck, but I don't think it's going to be like the end of, the must-have. Well, Lithoform Engine is a 4-mana legendary artifact, and it has 3 activated abilities. So 2 in tap, you can copy target activated or triggered ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. 3 in tap, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. And then 4 in tap, copy target permanent spell you control. So that last one's going to be the one that you can copy with the commander out. It's going to allow you to get 2 copies of permanent spells that you're casting, which is great. And Lithoform Engine, it also allows you to copy activated abilities. You can tap it to copy the commander's ability to copy activated abilities. So this is like a cool, not loop, but an interesting kind of spiral effect with your commander out in the battlefield. So Lithoform Engine is definitely a card I think we want to jam into this deck. All right, Memnarch is another weird one for this deck. It's a 7-mana, 4/5 legendary artifact creature wizard with 2 activated abilities. 1 blue, target permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. And then for 3 and a blue, you gain control of target artifact. So you do the first ability to turn something into an artifact, and then you do the second ability, and then tap your commander to gain control of 2 different target artifacts, which is just, it could be devastating to somebody. So this is definitely, I think this is definitely a card you throw in here in general, because it's going to just A, help with artifact strategies from your opponents, and B, it just is going to help you if you need like a mana rock or if you need something small. Memnarch is just it's a good commander on its own, but it's a great card to have. All right, the last weird one we talk about here, I think, is Planeswalker's Fury. This is 2 in a red for an enchantment. This one says 3 in red, target opponent reveals a card at random from his or her hand. Planeswalker's Fury deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to that player. Play this ability only anytime you could play a sorcery. So you are restricted to playing it only on your turn, but it just does that chaos effect that I love in this game. The chaos of just having them reveal a card at random, but then it's going to deal damage to them based on what the CMC is, and then you can copy it with your commander's ability. I think this card's just incredible. I had no idea it even existed until today. So this is something, if I build this deck, which I think I'm pretty much going to do, Planeswalker's Fury is 100% going into it. So there it is. All right, the last 2 cards I want to talk about here super quickly. Wormhole Serpent is the first one. This is just a really good, I think this is just a good card that people kind of slept on from Strixhaven. 4 and a blue for a 3/5 creature serpent with an activated ability that says 3 and a blue, target creature can't be blocked this turn. I have this in my Runo deck for my Sea Creature deck, and it helps tremendously. I always have the mana to be able to make creatures unblockable, and then that deck is obviously its own crazy thing. But doing this and copying it with our commander's ability, just going to make 2 of our creatures unblockable. Could be the difference between killing a player and not killing a player, or just getting that extra bit of damage in for whatever reason we need to. So Wormhole Serpent, I think people in general shouldn't sleep on this card. I think it's a great card and belongs in this deck. So this is a weird one just in general, because it kind of just goes against what we want to do with this deck by spending a certain amount of mana to activate an ability, to copy it. But I think putting it in the companion zone may not be the worst idea. It gives us kind of an out if we are just kind of low on mana, but we still need to activate some of those abilities because A, they're just good, and B, it just gives us that option where if we're, you know, we're struggling a little bit to get to where we need to as far as mana goes, this will help us with reducing that. So we're looking at Zirda the Dawnbreaker. This is one of the companions from Ikoria 1, and then hybrid Boros for a 3/3 legendary creature, elemental fox with the companion ability. So this kind of goes into its own separate thing. Spend 3 mana, put it in your hand, and then abilities you activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less to activate. This effect cannot reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1, and then for 1 and tap it, target creature can't block this turn, so going to help with evasion. But that, you know, reduce the mana reducing ability for the mana reducing ability for activated abilities is kind of what we're looking at here. And there are other cards like this, like Training Grounds and Hearthstone, that are going to help with reducing ability costs, but we want to be careful and not play too many of those effects here, because we want to obviously be paying 4 more mana for the abilities that cost that much, so we can get as much out of them as possible. But again, I think maybe running Zirda plus 1 or 2 of those other ones to help us out in a pinch where if maybe we don't have a ton of mana or we're struggling to get there, we can still cast or play some of those larger abilities for a little bit less. So Zirda, putting them in the companion zone isn't at all the worst idea. Maybe, you know, again, your own discretion. Build the deck how you like. But I think I might do it. I think I might put them there. But anyway, so yeah, those are all the cards I wanted to talk about here today. You know, let me know down in the comment section below what you think should go in this deck, and we'll compare notes. All right, cool. I hope you enjoyed that list. If it helped, please let me know in the comment section below. If you're excited about Baldur's Gate, Commander Legends, let me know. If you're going to go to Commandfest Richmond, they have Baldur's Gate preview, or I think that's pre-release weekend for that set. So you can actually play it, and that's what we're going to do on the Commandfest Richmond stuff. So come on down if you want to check out these cards, if you want to play with them. If you want to hang out with me, I'll be down there all weekend, Friday through Saturday. I'll actually be there Thursday night. I'm going to be on the Commander Rules Committee stream Thursday night, so I have to drive down there super early so I can make sure I can get ready for that. So it should be fun. But you can hang out with us down there. You can play some Commander's Baldur's Gate, Commander Legends Baldur's Gate with us, and then yeah, have just a good time. Also, we're running the official, unofficial Commandfest after party. Here's the location. I'm going to put it on screen. I always forget the name of it. Here it is. That's going to be from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday night, June 4th. There's going to be a bunch of content creators there hanging out, playing some games, just hanging, relaxing, getting some drinks. It's a cafe, which is really cool, so you can get food and play games. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you want to do that, the link to register to that event is down below. There's plenty of spaces still open. We have the whole space to ourselves. It's going to be super fun, so make sure you check that out. Lastly, as always, you can check out my affiliate link for Pinfinity AR. If you like high quality enamel altered reality pins, you can take your phone, you can scan them. They do cool things. They kind of come to life within your phone, which is super neat. You can check out that affiliate link below. And if you do that, or if you use coupon code, that TCG guy at checkout, you get 20% off of any order you do there, or 20% off of your first subscription. So go ahead and check that out. They're awesome. And then anything you get there helps me here. All right, guys, thank you so much. And as always, we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.